Hello everyone and welcome to Shelved. I am your host, Jeremy Meyer. So when I was growing up, I was a big fan of cartoons. That's basically how I spent every day that I wasn't at school, was watching cartoons. Big fan of like the Nicktoons, and Cartoon Network was basically my home and my babysitter for a long time. Eventually, I became a teenager, and I started to branch out in my TV watching, and I discovered Dragon Ball Z. Now, I'm not like the biggest anime fan. There are some I like, kind of a handful, but Dragon Ball Z was one that I was addicted to. Easily my favorite of the genre, and I think a lot of people, it's the one that is probably most familiar over here in the States. I feel like between the show and how big of a fan base it had, and just like kind of the merchandising, it's the one you can go into a store and probably stumble on something Dragon Ball Z, whether it's the movies or the TV shows on the shelves, maybe an action figure in a store, collectible cards. I feel like it's just more in the popular view of, in America in particular, where I'm from. And I was hooked. I watched it every day after school. I recorded it on VHS tapes. I had so many blank VHS tapes just full of Dragon Ball Z episodes. And it all started when I kind of knew about it, and I'd kind of seen it was playing on late night Adult Swim on Cartoon Network. And I was aware of it, and I was kind of enjoying it. And then my friends started telling me about dude, eventually Goku, he gets gold hair and he goes Super Saiyan and it's fucking awesome. And I'm like, well, that sounds cool. So I kept watching, that's when I started kind of watching on a regular basis. I got to see the Super Saiyan thing. And then, the rest is history. I was just hooked. I watched the show to the end. I play all the video games, and still to this day, I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. I kind of hadn't thought about it for, a few years. And then recently I kind of started getting back into it again. I have all of the manga, the books. I've recently reread the whole series. So, I'm still into it. But, needless to say, I'd always wanted a Dragon Ball Z movie. I was like, oh, why can't somebody make a movie of this? And lo and behold, in 2009, I believe it was, we saw the release of Dragon Ball Evolution. And it was something I was excited for. I remember when I saw the first trailer, I was super excited. I couldn't wait to watch it, pulled it up on YouTube, and once it was over, I was curious. It just, it is what it is. Hollywood took something that was beloved, and they hired somebody to write a movie, and this somebody just didn't have any interest or love for it. And it was disappointing. The movie came out, and it was very terrible. There are very few good things I will say about the movie. I do say it on the podcast, what I do actually like about it, but it's not very much. So, cut to now. I get the idea for this podcast, and I'm kind of just looking for scripts. What can I talk about? And I'm like, oh, I read on the IMDb trivia that there were some things that were different in the Dragon Ball script. I'm like, I wonder if I can find it. So I Google it and very quickly find the script. And I see that right on the cover page, the script is just named Dragon Ball Z. So already it's a little different. And I read this thing, and I'm like, oh man, we fucking have to talk about this movie. So the script is wildly different from the movie. There's a few connective tissues that you can see how it became, but it's very clear studio interference really changed this movie. That's not to say that the original script is good. I will say it's probably better, but it still would have been a bad movie. It probably would have been a better Dragon Ball movie, but still just a bad movie overall. And then the writer has since come out and apologized. It's something he was pushing around the blame for years, and eventually was like, yeah, it was a money job, and I did the work and turned it in and washed my hands of it. And it shows when you read the script that he did his homework. He clearly read all the books, or he watched the whole series, and he got everything in there to varying degrees of success, mostly no success. But it's in there, and it's different, and it would have been more recognizable as Dragon Ball, because Dragon Ball Evolution is not recognizable as being from that property at all. But I roped my closest Dragon Ball fanatic friend into this podcast, and he's probably even more into it than I am. He watches all of the series. He's watched them all in English and Japanese, which is something I can't even do. But I should definitely start out this podcast by saying he's a very busy guy. He's a wrestler. He runs his own wrestling company, so his weekends are usually pretty busy. We both work the same full-time job, which has a lot of hours. And he didn't have time to read the script. I gave it to him, months in advance, and he was kind of trying to peck at it, and he just wasn't having time. So I'm like, you know what? I'll read the script. You watch the movie, and we'll talk about how different it is. And I definitely still really enjoy this episode, but I just want that to be known. He didn't read the script, but I still think we got some great conversation out of it because they are so different. And I will say he had a few drinks before we did the show as well. But I still think it's a great episode, but I just want you guys to know that we may come back and revisit this one, because after talking about it, he did say he wanted to read the script just because it's interesting. And I think as any Dragon Ball fan, they should read this because it's so different. And I would have been curious to see what this movie would have been. But yeah, so here's me and my buddy Nick, a couple Dragon Ball freaks. And we're going to talk about Dragon Ball Z, which became Dragon Ball Evolution.
They're heavy.
Yeah, I want to get stands. That's what I keep saying every episode, but I want to get stands.
Yeah, stands are probably not that expensive either.
No, I'm probably getting them for $10. But who wants to spend the money right now?
Fuck it. I just bought a game that's obsolete, so...
I mean, I do that every week. I stop at GameStop and browse the PS3 section just to see what I can get for $5. All right. So I gave you this script a month ago, a month and a half ago, and it wasn't getting read.
No,
you're a busy guy. You and Berto both. So I figured I'll read it. Just have you watch the movie, which you did today.
It's more to my speed.
Yeah. So I have not seen this movie in probably 2 years, maybe more. For some reason, I own it. Don't know why. I bought it when it came out I think I'd already seen it, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy it. Maybe it'll grow on me.
I had a feeling well, first off, let me give you a very resounded, I don't mean that's a real word, fuck you for making me watch this movie.
I should have watched. I mean, I had to read this, which might be worse when we get into it.
I was just... I wanted to blow my brains out.
Look at it this way. That movie, we looked it up, is 88 minutes long, which is already an immediate red flag when a movie can't even make 90 minutes. And the script took me a week to get through. So in a way, I probably had it worse.
God. But you know what? I remember watching this for the first time, and...
I don't even remember my first time watching
I remember thinking, wow, this was not good. This was, as a Dragon Ball Z, lifelong fan.
Yeah,
it was not.
Which is exactly why I chose you. Me and you are easily the two biggest Dragon Ball fans in here.
It was not a Dragon Ball Z movie by far.
No, I mean, for one, it's a Dragon Ball movie, but it's not even a Dragon Ball movie. Z is the sequel.
Well, you know what I mean, the franchise. I was thinking, wow, maybe this movie might have the same kind of effect as a Ready to Rumble did on me, as where I was like, you know what, it's not a good movie, but I
enjoy it.
But I love it. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, we were talking about Ready to Rumble the other day. We both agree it's a bad movie that we love.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of movies that are bad movies that I enjoy the hell out of, like any of the Chronicles of Riddick movies, except the first one. I think people generally like the first one. But yeah, so I remember seeing the trailer for the first time and thinking that this does not look good. But the trailer didn't show a lot, and I'm like, maybe it still has a chance. And then I watched a bootleg copy when the movie finally came out. I think it was still out in Japan, and I watched a Japanese subtitled one, and I was just like, what the fuck? How did this movie come out the way it did from a director who claimed to be a huge fan.
Okay, well, can we start off by saying that the movie starts with a like very cliche back in the day,
yes,
2,000 years ago.
Yeah, which is present in the script as well.
Which is I hate that. Like, I mean, sometimes it's okay, but in this instance, it was very annoying.
Anytime I come across a movie that does that, I try to remember one that did it well, and I'm always hard pressed to find one that I can look back on and be like, oh, what's a movie that starts with exposition at the beginning that was actually good? And can you think of one right now? Because I can't. Immediate bad sign. So the writer, I read the script, which is just straight up called Dragon Ball Z, and you just watched the movie that it became. The writer, Ben Ramsey, has actually been out there apologizing for this over the last year. Like, for a long time, he
should be apologizing.
So for a long time, he was out there kind of pushing the blame on other people, like, oh, it was the studio, it was the director, and blah, blah, blah. Recently, he came out and was just like, look, I took it as a money gig. I didn't really know Dragon Ball, but it's very clear he read or watched all of it because it's all in the script. Think of something that's in the movie that was from Dragon Ball that was not in the movie.
Wait, what?
Think of something from the show or the manga that was Dragon Ball that was not in the movie.
That was not present in the movie. I mean, they had Piccolo work him and his minion Ozoru, which is that was not a thing ever.
All in the script. A little different. Piccolo's a little different. What's a character that was in Dragon Ball that was not in the movie?
That was not in the movie. I mean, Oolong was in.
He's in the script.
Okay. The turtle wasn't.
The turtle's not in the script.
The turtle's not getting any love.
No.
I like turtles. Who else was not?
Like, who's a major Dragon Ball character?
Oh, Krillin.
He's in the script.
Okay.
Puar is in the script.
And that would have been such an easy thing for them to do. Like when Yamcha appears in the movie, just have him with a cat.
Yeah, which is exactly what it is in the script.
Literally all of it. It didn't have to talk or anything.
The power pole is in the script.
It's in the movie. Kinda.
But the actual power pole, they refer to it as such.
Okay,
and
so
they extend it.
They give it some love.
The flying Nimbus is in the script. It's kind of insane, everything that was crammed into the script. So, like, right from the beginning.
So the script, as far as I'm learning from you, was a little bit more closer to
the script
Dragon Ball.
So look at the beginning of the movie. Goku's in high school, which immediately is a bad sign. The classroom scene in particular is almost identical in the script, but there's a lot more talk, which you reminded me today, that they actually name dropped the Namex in the script, in the movie. And I, like, as I'm so the whole thing of the script is Dragon Ball, the story of Dragon Ball. Like, the story they tell you in the beginning about, like, the voiceover stuff tells you, that's, like, in the script, it's implied that that's a story everybody knows. And it's, like, a board game and a video game, and, like, Dragon Ball is, like, basically fucking Dungeons and Dragons in this world. And some people believe it to be true based on a real story, and most people
like
don't.
How we have Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, it'd be like if Dungeons and Dragons really happened,
and
to us nowadays,
oh, it's a game.
Yeah, to us nowadays, it's a board game.
Okay.
Like, there are constant references to a Dragon Ball game in, like, story in the beginning of the script. Goku has, like, 2 friends in high school that he straight up kills at one point.
He just kills them.
And
intentionally, or
so. The movie starts with, like, Piccolo killing Grandpa Gohan.
Okay.
And it
did not happen in the manga.
No. And in the script, Piccolo's non-existent until the end. So the whole thing, name a villain from Dragon Ball that was not in the movie.
Emperor Pilaf?
He's in the script. Emperor Pilaf, Mai, and Chao are all in this movie from the very beginning.
Okay.
They don't do anything for a long time. So here's where they kind of take it a little different. Pilaf, I'm going to just kind of skip ahead a little bit to the end here. Pilaf is a Namek in disguise. And so is Mai. And that's why she's able to shift forms like she does in the movie.
So that was Mai in the movie then.
Yeah, that was Mai in the movie with Piccolo.
Did they ever call her Mai? Like,
No,
I don't think
but
they never ever say her name.
No,
he never calls her.
She doesn't
by
even
anything.
speak.
Like 2 lines.
Yeah.
Although quick pause on that. You talk about how she shapeshifts. At first I didn't realize that she shapeshifted, and then I was like, are these motherfuckers so racist that they literally just mixed up the 2 Asian girls in the movie?
No, I mean there is a change there. It's all mostly in the hair.
I was just like, you got to be kidding
Yeah,
me.
like they never name drop her. There's character posters out there that say Mai, and like she's credited as Mai. But this they have Mai and Chow, who Chow was the little dog. And this he's like, I got confused because in the beginning I thought he was like a robot, but then at the end he like takes off his like costume to reveal he's like a wolf thing that Yamcha kills later by throwing it into a Piccolo's blast. So the whole point of this script is they want to get the Pilaf and Mai and Chow want to get the Dragon Balls to resurrect Piccolo. Because in the story, Piccolo was a great destroyer with Ozaru.
Sure.
He straight up calls Goku a Saiyan and tells him what he is at the end. Like, this thing is all over the place. I'm like...
I mean, there was a lot of shit going on in the movie that it was like... Like they talk about like, oh, like Piccolo like thousands of years ago into the future.
And they keep referencing it. Like, a lot of the stuff between like Goku and Bulma is the same, like the relationship they have. Actually, no. They create a hardcore love triangle between Yamcha, Goku, and Bulma. That is
in the script.
Yeah, that is not in the movie and not from the manga.
Yeah. But like they talk about how he like Piccolo was, like sealed away with basically the evil containment wave. I guess.
I mean, don't they call it the Mafuba?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the name. That is the name of it in the manga.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, he was sealed away, whatever. And then like cut to the movie, like he's just like
there.
He's just in a flying ship. Like there's no like him like escaping from his.
This is a question I actually wanted to ask you. Now you just watched the movie; it's fresh in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
What was Piccolo's plan? Why was he seeking the Dragon Balls?
They never said.
I was literally thinking about that the other day, and I'm like, I'm going to ask him this question. They
never said. He just said, "We will gather the Dragon Balls, and then when the blood moon arises in the eclipse, Ozora will be released."
And
then,
why?
That was it. That was all he said.
Okay, and so Goku is Ozaru. He's like a 12-foot ape instead of like the 50-foot ape that they are in the thing. How is this 12-foot ape going to destroy the world? Like,
I don't know.
For one, the movie is so different from the script, because the script you can tell the guy doesn't give a shit about Dragon Ball, but he at least put forth the effort. The Ox King is in the script. Chi-Chi is in the script. Oolong is in the script, who's a fucking shape-shifting pig in the cartoon. In this, he's an actual smoke monster that they just kill with a Kamehameha wave.
They just kill everyone in this movie. Or in the script.
They also add like a huge giant robot fight in the beginning where Goku and Bulma kind of hook up in the beginning. It's very similar to how it is in the movie. His grandpa Gohan is dead, which we find out later that he's actually the one that destroyed the house, because he became so when he goes to the party and there's no fight at the party like there is in the fucking movie. Like, the high school stuff in the script is very toned down.
The high school stuff in the movie is so cringe. I'm just like, God.
The fucking scene in the classroom scene to me is the epitome of how fucking terrible that movie is. Like, he looks at Chi-Chi and has the daydreaming sequence and blah, blah, blah. There's like another girl in the movie who doesn't matter. She's gone in the first 10 seconds. And then Chi-Chi comes in with the Ox King later, and they immediately fall in love, and it makes no sense. But, so we find out later in the script that when he was on his way home, from the party, he became Ozaru because he looked at the full moon, and he killed his 2 friends. And then he thinks he kills Gohan. So Pilaf shoots him with like a memory gun, because apparently that exists, and so it gives him this flashback of him killing his friends as Ozaru. And then Roshi ends up showing up at the end, because like we believe Roshi to be kind of out of commission at this point after the fight with Oolong. And he hits Goku with memory powers as well, because apparently he has that. And then shows that Goku didn't actually kill Grandpa Gohan, he only killed his friends, which I guess is okay.
It's okay.
He doesn't seem to care. And then they just show Piccolo and Mai showed up, or not Piccolo, but Pilaf and Mai showed up and killed Grandpa Gohan. So that made no fucking sense. Like, there was a point where I was reading the script and I was like, this would have been a bad movie, but it would have been a better movie.
A better Dragon Ball movie.
Yeah, because it's all there. Like, I mean, they really embellish some stuff, but like, you could at least look at it and be like, the characters are there. Elements of the story are there. Like, she gets attacked by a giant bird that Goku jumps up and fucking hits with his power pole straight out of the manga.
Okay.
Which is like the early chapters. I don't know when the last time you saw or read Dragon Ball was. It's been a while for me.
Recently.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched. I just rewatched the entire series of Dragon Ball last year.
The original Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, it's been years since I've seen it. So like some of the stuff was kind of coming to me as I read it. Like, oh yeah, that was in the manga. Like, so wasn't Oolong the one, like the Ox King? His place was on fire.
Well, Oolong was like terrorizing a village. And
it wasn't the Ox King village.
No, it was a different village.
In the script, it's the Ox King's village. Okay. He doesn't have a mountain on fire because that's where they introduced the Kamehameha wave, where Roshi blows up his house. Never really understood that in the manga, like why that was supposed to be a good idea. But
doesn't know his own strength,
I guess.
And then he gets so jacked.
Yeah,
like,
which they reference this in the script. Like they're like, oh yeah, he's in full Kamehameha mode. But yeah, so in this, Oolong is torturing the Ox King's village, and he's kidnapping. In the manga, wasn't he kidnapping women and like basically forcing them to be his servant?
Little
or whatever?
girls.
Yeah, little girls.
Like, and not even like, I mean, forcing them. He was just like, "You're coming to live with me," and then he would just pamper them, and they were just like,
"Yeah,
oh,
and they loved it.
We loved it." Yeah,
yeah.
Like,
he's straight up murdering and sucking the souls out of women, and he's like a smoke monster, and they end up defeating him with liquid nitrogen. And a Kamehameha wave.
That makes sense.
Sure.
I mean, I guess that's probably the most sense it would make.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, it's just like to add an action scene, which they do a couple times, like I said. So they go to the temple, like Bulma and Goku hook up, and they go to the temple to like find a master to find out where the Dragon Balls are, and like the temple's all been murdered by robots that they like fight or creatures.
Androids.
I don't even. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they reference a cyborg at some point. And at one point, I thought they were gonna do straight up the Karate Kid wax on, wax off moment. Oof. Because they show like when they hook up with Roshi, it's fucking described as Roshi, an old man with sunglasses and a Hawaiian shirt with a beard, and he's on an island hawking Turtle Island merchandise, or he's like trying to off. They literally come and he's sitting there with a box of sunglasses and shirts and stuff of Turtle Island, and he's trying to sell it to him, which is ridiculous. Oh, and he immediately offers Bulma a bikini. So the character traits are there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, in the movie as well, I mean, other than he was just like...
well, he touches her butt once.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
I also thought that they, like, the racial diversity in the movie was very, like, just random.
Yeah.
Because it was just like,
Goku's a white kid.
Here's some white people, and here's some Asian people, and they're all mixed together.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know. It not like
I mean,
it didn't bother me at all, but it was just like pick a side.
I mean,
make them all white.
When you look at Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball, and when you look at the books and stuff, they're all kind of ambiguous. It's never like the architecture and a lot of stuff, and like the little villages is clearly Chinese or Japanese inspired. But then Dragon Ball Z is mostly like big futuristic cities and blah blah blah. So like in the movie, it never really bothered me. Like, oh, she seems like a white girl in the manga and everything. And honestly, Emmy Rossum as Bulma is maybe the only character I didn't hate in the movie.
Yeah, I felt like she kind of...
If I had to say anything nice about that movie?
The closest, like, as far as personality-wise, to what Bulma would have been.
Well, in this, she straight up has a Matrix fight with Mai, where they are backflip kicking guns out of each other's hands and catching them in the air. And Bulma was never a fighter.
No, she... sucked.
Yeah,
she didn't do anything.
And throughout the whole script, she has guns. She's like fighting people, but she never like fist fights anybody. And then all of a sudden at the end is also kind of set up similar to the movie, where except we add Chow into the mix, where Yamcha's fighting Chow, Bulma's fighting Mai, Goku's fighting Piccolo, who they peel off, straight up resurrects Piccolo with the Dragon Balls. Nobody dies that they need to bring Roshi back or whatever, which is honestly closer to the manga, because doesn't Roshi die the same way he does in the movie with the Mafuba? Because he misses or something?
Does he? I don't even think he actually died, though.
I thought he did. I know Krillin dies.
Yeah.
And then Goku goes to get the Dragon Balls to resurrect Krillin.
Yeah.
Which, when they introduce Krillin in the script, so they go to Turtle... So, first of all, I guess I should kind of back up. I'm all over the place with this one, but it's fucking weird.
I mean, it's this movie.
Yeah. So they hook up with Yamcha, and they do it. It's just like the series. Like, he shoots a bazooka at them, and they have a fight, and he uses the Wolf Fang fist multiple times in the script until Bulma gets a gun on him, and then they're like, "Hey, we got to work together."
No,
and,
like weird lovey-dovey.
Yeah, no weird falling into a pit in the movie, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, we have to go to this lava place because there's a Dragon Ball."
Yeah. Or like, it just so happened they fall into this pit, and it just so happens that the Dragon Ball is right on the other side of that wall.
They're like in a pit, and like, oh, if we just go through this crack, that's on the other side.
Yeah, like so convenient.
No, I think in the script Yamcha actually has one.
And Yamcha in the movie is so annoying. Like, just like, yeah, bro, totally.
he's a total bro, and that is kind of in the script as well. He's a little more. I think all the characters are better represented in the scripts. Like, they have the dialogue is not terrible at all times. There's actually some decent dialogue. I actually laughed a couple times with Roshi. Like, they actually do some good perv Roshi jokes, or like him being like this all-knowing master, but then he's really just kind of a buffoon. Where he like, there's like a moment where he knows Bulma's name. He's like, "How'd you know my name? I didn't tell you." He's like, "Oh, all knowledge is in the ether for it to be pulled out of." And then they like the camera pans and you see the back of her jacket says Bulma. Oh. So like stuff like that. They actually do some decent humor. I mean, it's like feels like 90s humor, but it works when you're reading it.
Yeah.
And it feels more true to what Dragon Ball than what is in the movie. Like, I'm trying to think of Roshi moments in the movie, which he's a great actor, but he was the wrong fucking casting for that movie.
I mean, like, when they first introduced him, and he's like, "I am the great Master Roshi."
Yeah, and he's like, "Ha ha ha," and he's like, "Yeah, my grandpa's dead," and he just like stops mid laugh, and then all of a sudden, dramatic camera turn, which is like one of the only scenes I remember from that movie. It's just fucking. How did they get this guy who's probably new Dragon Ball? I would assume he was probably a fan of it.
Why? Because he's Asian?
No, like I think he was out there in interviews and stuff, like talking about it, and like I just feel like as somebody who's like knew this material, how could you even play this? Like, how could the director tell you to do this, and you just be like, okay, like that makes sense.
He's getting paid to do it. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's like Jackie Chan, doesn't give a fuck about his American movies. Because I mean, this movie did big in Japan.
Did it?
Yeah, this movie was successful, not by much, but it made money. It was a cheap movie. They only made it for like $40 million. I think it made 80, or somewhere in that range, or it might even have made over 100.
So my next question. Was there ever talk of a sequel?
There was.
Oh,
but
God.
I believe it was very small talk. Once the box office came back, it pretty much crushed it. I know the actor who played Piccolo was very adamant, like
of not wanting to do it.
No, wanting to do it.
Oh God!
Like he was the biggest supporter of this movie, from what I can tell.
Yeah, because he was like the main character.
Yeah, I mean,
like
he doesn't do anything.
He was like the coolest one.
Yeah, I mean, he looks decent. Like, so there was a lot. I don't know how closely you were following the movie up to release or anything, but I remember there were pictures that leaked out that showed Piccolo not green.
Yeah,
and I am of the theory that they digitally altered Piccolo to be green in the movie.
Like they shot it differently?
I think they shot it with the intention of him to not be green. That he was going to be this like skin-colored creature. And then they saw the internet freaking out and they went and digitally colored him green. That's my theory.
It looks like it, I would say.
And then when you look at the movie, he is a shade of green that does not seem like makeup.
Yeah. I could definitely see that.
Yeah. That's my theory. No one talks about this movie enough to really have any information out there about it.
What do you think the chances are that we ever see a good live action Dragon Ball movie in our lifetime?
In our lifetimes?
Or just
probably
ever.
Slim to none.
You don't think that there's any possibility? I feel like now,
I think now would be the good time.
With now the resurgence of the movie, like the animated movies that just came out, and the new Dragon Ball Super series, like
I don't
feel
know
like
how
now
well
would
that
be
stuff's doing in America though.
But I feel like now, like since it's even if they did it in Japan, and then it like
I would watch the Japanese version in subtitles. So I mean, lately there have been good anime or movies made based on anime. Like I'm a huge fan of Rurouni Kenshin, and over the last few years they did 3 movies, live action movies that were all great. Like they nailed it and they made it look awesome. They cast it really well. and they did the story justice. And I look at those movies, I'm like, whoever was on that team, like that should be the prototype for making a movie like this. They did it right. They paid tribute and they made it awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And they recently released those in America, and I'd highly recommend anybody watching them. But like honestly, even if they took this script and did another pass on it, I feel like there could have been a good Dragon Ball movie here. Like it's kind of crazy. Like I mean, so like I say Krillin's in the movie, he's literally in it for 1 second. The writing in the script is fucking terrible. I will say that. Some of the story beats are good. The writing is awful. This dude, like the way we were talking about Yamcha being a bro, this guy kind of writes like a bro. And there's literally a scene where they go to Turtle Island and they hook up with Roshi, and they're walking into his house. He's like, oh, come here, we're gonna find the Dragon Ball or whatever. And they walk by a guy like, oh, there's a bald dude on the couch. Like, oh, that's my other student. It's like, this is Krillin. Him and Goku give a thumbs up, and Goku smiles. They're immediately best friends. And I'm just...
That's terrible.
Yeah, and there's multiple moments of writing like that in the script. I'm trying... Yeah, there was a really bad one. I don't know if I took a note on it. But yeah, I mean, it's just... The guy who wrote this... And other interesting things is like... So when they go to Oolong's cave, it's like a dark cave. They go into the cave and it's dark, and they like crack some light sticks or something, and they're like, oh, all of a sudden we see the remnants of a Starbucks and a Krispy Kreme, and I'm like, wait a minute, is this
product placement?
Is this the fucking post-apocalypse? Does Dragon Ball take place after the fucking world has ended, and this is just now what the world has become? It's like,
who knows?
I don't know what this guy was thinking. But yeah, so yeah, they're literally in this cave, and they're just like, oh yeah, the Starbucks Krispy Kreme, and they just walk by it. It's like no big deal. And the whole time, all we're hearing about is the Nameks. Like they're constantly saying, so basically the Nameks are made out to be bad guys. And I was surprised when you said that the Nameks were name dropped in that classroom scene, because is that the only time they ever bring it up?
It was literally just like, he's like Goku, pay attention. Like this is when he's daydreaming about Chi-Chi, and he's like, how would our ancestors, react to this eclipse that's coming up? And he's like, well, my grandfather always told me about this story about the Nameks that came to destroy the Earth, and he like kind of trails off, and he's like, what are the Nameks? He goes,
yeah, and everybody's like making fun of him, right?
He's like, they're an evil alien race that tried to destroy the Earth 2,000 years ago, and he's like, well, let's hope that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because in the movie, it's like in the script it's implied everybody knows this story, and in the movie he's kind of looked at like, oh, that's what those old crazy kooks believe and blah blah blah, but like it's treated as a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I mean, for the most part, it's treated like a joke in the script too. But everybody knows the story. They bring up the Nameks like every 5 minutes, and how they're this evil alien race that's coming to kill everybody. Which, I mean, I think we all know the Nameks from Dragon Ball Z were not
very gentle, docile.
Yeah,
creatures.
I mean, Piccolo was literally the only one. Which I don't. Did they ever explain why he's so evil? He's just evil,
King
right?
Piccolo.
Yeah,
I think he came to Earth like when he was young, and he was just mistreated very badly by people that were there.
Because I do remember in Dragon Ball Z after the Saiyan saga when they find his old ship.
Yeah.
And Kami's like, oh, this is who I was, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I think when he was a boy, like a little baby Namek, he was like treated really poorly. Or I think he might have just been evil in general.
Yeah, because honestly, I've never seen the end of Dragon Ball. Like, not all of it.
The whole King Piccolo saga, and then when he gets killed, and then like the Piccolo that we know in Dragon Ball Z is born. And he's fighting Goku in the World Martial Arts Tournament. That's probably one of the best fight scenes in all of anime, I would say.
Really?
It's so
like
good.
in the World Tournament stuff?
Yeah.
See, my favorite part of Dragon Ball was the World Tournament, like the first World Tournament saga.
Yeah.
And they actually have the World Tournament to a degree in the movie. Like Chi-Chi is fighting at the tournament.
Yeah,
it's not
weird. Like it's like a circular room with like a gym mat in the middle.
Yeah. And they have this really fucking awkward fight at the end where he just like blocks her foot. That's so bad. I don't even know if you're awake by that point.
Some of the fight scenes in this movie were so bad. Like just
all
like the
of
choreography
the fight scenes in this movie.
I mean, yeah, I can't even say with a straight face that there was anything good about it. It just seemed very lazy and just like it was like they were throwing slow punches and then they would just speed it up in the camera. Like
and then there's the scene with him and Roshi where he's like throwing like a hurricane of punches, and the camera's like matrix spinning around them as he's like blurred hands and Roshi's blocking them all. The fight scenes in the script are described as like so epic. First of all, Goku's never in any danger until the very end. He is destroying everybody. He's beating the shit out of everybody. But they literally describe him as like just fucking kicking ass. And like him and Yamcha have multiple fights. So in the script, Mai, instead of becoming Chi-Chi, because Chi-Chi comes in so late, she becomes like a little girl, which raises whole lots of questions about her shape-shifting abilities, because she literally changes to a tiny little child. But so she like ambushes a caravan that has like a Dragon Ball, and she kills them all, and then poses as this little girl, and then she's like, "Oh, I think they were looking for this," and she hands them the Dragon Ball, and then this little girl just tags along with them, and like they imply that Goku knows something is up with her, but he just kind of like, I don't know, whatever, yeah, you can come with us, and then they go hook up with Roshi. So she's like with them for a long time, and just kind of is like posing with them, and there's never like that betrayal moment that you expect. I mean, like later she basically convinces them to all fight each other.
She's just like, aha, and pulls off
No, not even. So there's this after they like fight Oolong and have the Oxygen. So Roshi gets injured during the Oolong fight. Like he bulks up and does a Kamehameha, and it's implied that he basically spent all of his energy, so he's got to like kind of hang back while they continue the quest. And then they get like 10 feet away from Ox King's village, and everything goes to hell. Like they're on a campsite, and she as the little girl, so like Bulma, they're having some kind of art. This is getting so boring by this point, but they're like arguing about something, and they decide to kind of camp. Like Goku's getting a little like, I need to finish this quest and blah blah. Oh, Bulma finds out that the Dragon Balls are going to be scattered, so she's all angry because she wanted them for the same reason she wants them in the movie, which is for power, the money, and blah blah blah. And Yamcha's tagging along because he wants money from her. And throughout the script, Yamcha's like not interested in Bulma. He's like, "Hey man, I don't care." Like he's like, "Goku, fucking have at it." And Goku's interested in Bulma, but Bulma's interested in Yamcha, and Yamcha just doesn't give a fuck. He just wants money. And then there's the switch point where they meet Chi-Chi, and Goku and Chi-Chi immediately fall in love, which is not how it happened. He's basically tricked into marrying her.
I love that, like, Goku, like, at no point in the manga or in the anime, I guess it's the same. At no point is he like show any kind of affection towards Chi-Chi.
Never.
Like he to the point where I just was like, yeah, Goku's gay. Like
I'm like, I don't think. I mean, Goku's an idiot. That's always been the thing. He's a master fighter, but he's always been stupid.
Yeah.
And like, I think Dragon Ball Z Abridged, the series on YouTube, handles it perfectly, because it almost seems like he doesn't know what marriage is, and he's just like, all right, I guess this is happening. But in this, him and Gigi immediately fall for each other. She has like 12 lines of dialogue in this whole movie, and it's all very stereotypical. Oh, you can do it. You just have to find yourself, and blah, blah, blah.
What was the line that she kept saying? You have to make your energy has to flow as your own, or something like that. Like,
okay, isn't it fucking weird in the movie that she's like an expert on mastering your ki more than he is?
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking Goku, and she was a fighter in Dragon.
Yeah,
like
I mean, they were kind of like building it up in the movie as like he's like finding his way. Like, he's like just like, I mean, he's in high school. He's a kid.
And I definitely, that is a theme in the script, but I think it's handled a lot better in the script, because there's a lot of talk of like finding your destiny and blah blah blah. But it doesn't make sense because Roshi knows that the little girl is bad, and he's like doesn't say anything because he needs Goku to figure it out. He needs to find his way. So he literally puts them all in danger.
Yeah, literally almost costing them their lives.
Yeah, so like you said, he's out of commission, and then when he comes back at the end, he's like, oh, I wasn't as bad off as I led you to believe. I just needed Goku to figure out some things. And it's like, you fucking old shit. Like, what are you doing? And just like, yeah, so they go to the camps. They're like camping because Goku, he's like, we need to go and blah blah. And they're like, well, we need to rest. So the little girl kind of runs after them, and because they like leave the little girl at the Ox King village, and then she like follows them because she's got to fuck shit up. And she like changes her voice to all the different characters' voices and whispers into all their ears as they're sleeping as the other characters. Like, in Goku's ear, she whispers as Bulma and Yamcha plotting against him, and then as Bulma, Yamcha, and Goku plotting against her, and so on and so forth.
That seems way too complicated.
Yeah, so they all wake up and just start fighting each other. And so Yamcha and Goku start fighting, and then the little girl's like, quick, grab the Dragon Balls, we have to get out of here. And then they run away, and then now the aha moment, and she beats up Bulma, and then takes the Dragon Balls and leaves.
For her, that seems like the most, long, drawn-out, and complicated plan you could possibly have.
She's around for so long. So much so that I forget the character's there. And, she comes in so early. I mean, maybe halfway through, and she just fucking hangs out with them. Where in the movie, it's a 10-second scene where she poses as Chi-Chi. Mm-hmm. And then it's oh, no, now we got Chi-Chi versus Chi-Chi fighting, which is probably the best fight in the movie, honestly.
Yeah.
It's the only one that feels like a real fight. Although I do like Goku flipping around at the end. But I mean,
the fight with Piccolo is so bad.
It's so short.
And they're just pew, pew,
yeah, they're literally just throwing, one thing that's never established in the movie really is energy waves anyway, and now all of a sudden they're launching them all over the place.
They're just going crazy with
he's flipping around, throwing them with each hand.
Also, can I say how fucking stupid when Goku gets killed with this gunshot?
Yeah.
And then Roshi brings him back to life by Kamehamehaing him in the chest.
Yeah. They don't establish that it's implied that this energy can be used as energy, fucking anything. It's we've only known it as a destructive force.
Yeah.
And he literally, he even says he calls it a Kamehameha wave, right? Mm-hmm. And it's they imply that all energy is a Kamehameha wave.
First off, they called it airbending.
Yeah.
They were it's airbending. Oh, the Kamehameha wave is the highest level.
I think I'm watching the wrong anime.
Yeah. And then I just one thing that bothered me was every time Roshi was talking to the other master and they'd leave, he'd be namaste.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
What religion?
That's that's a yoga term.
Yeah.
Hinduism or some sort of
it really feels like they tried to make everything
mystical and
but it's kind of ambiguous and
cliche and
it's everything is everything. It all makes sense. Just throw it all together. It's one religion to rule them all.
God.
It makes no fucking sense. And they're just throwing out terms that, a fucking average viewer would know is not right. And I can't believe this movie made $100 million. I mean, if the script came out the way it was written, I would believe it doing even better in Japan. We might have seen a sequel. And honestly, if they came out and were we're going to do it, I'd watch it.
Yeah, I would just to see the fucking train wreck.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could improve on that movie even. It wouldn't be amazing.
I mean, have you seen these fan-made trailers on YouTube?
Yeah. I mean,
they are incredible.
I mean, the acting is usually pretty bad, but that's what you get for fan-made stuff. But they're doing
what
great
you're
stuff.
Seeing the visualness. I mean, even the CGI or whatever is kind of rough, but it's still for something that somebody made in their basement probably it's incredible. Why could not this studio made movie look like this? Why couldn't they why couldn't it just be fucking good? God damn it! I'm so mad.
My immediate answer is because it's Fox. Because Fox is fucking so notorious for their executives screwing with movies. But I mean, this is the script that was turned in, and this script reads like Dragon Ball. It reads like fucking garbage. This still would have been a bad movie,
sure,
but it would have been recognizable as Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
As much as everybody complains about the high school stuff, that stuff is still in here, but it's shorter. The high school stuff in this script is 3 pages versus the 10 pages it is in the movie. Because I mean, there's the classroom scene, there's the scene with him and Chi-Chi in the hallway, there's the party scene.
It also kind of bugged me that his hair was just normal hair. I kind of.
I mean, it was kind of spiky, and by the end, it's it's changed a little. I will say, okay, I'm gonna say a couple good things about the movie. These are the only good things you'll ever hear me say about the movie. I like the soundtrack. I think the score is decent for a martial arts fantasy epic. It's Brian Tyler. He does the Fast and Furious movies. He did the pirate or the soundtrack for Assassin's Creed 4, which is all piratey, and it's great. He's a great composer. I think the soundtrack is fine. it has like the mystical kung fu taiko drums, as well as some of your new agey shit that you kind of recognize from the Bruce Faulkner soundtracks, which I fucking love from Dragon Ball Z. And I like the costume at the end.
His gi.
His gi.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
It looked good.
Yeah.
I remember when I saw it for the first time, like when I watched it.
When I first saw the picture of him in the gi, I was like, maybe this will be okay.
Yeah, it was like the one little glimmer of hope that this was a big, decent movie.
And he looks decent in it. Like, when you see him in that outfit and you see that they cast him, and Justin Chatwin, I like him as an actor. I think he's a great and Shameless. Mm-hmm. He's a piece of shit character, but he's a good actor. And he was in like War of the Worlds. I've seen him in stuff, and he's fine. That was, like you said, it was the one glimmer of hope when you look at that picture, and like he fills out the costume and like it looks fine.
Yeah. Even like, I mean, Bulma's costume looked fine. Like she had like the hair, even though her hair wasn't completely blue.
I like the blue streak thing. That was
which
fine.
Is it's like a nice little nod to how the character looks in the anime.
And the guy who played Yamcha, June Park, I think his name is.
He looked like a piece of shit. So he looked just like Yamcha. So.
Yeah, I mean. He had like blonde streaks. Didn't he? He's like a singer. He's like a J-pop singer or something.
Really?
Yeah. He's like a pretty boy in Japan or whatever.
Part of me. I mean, Piccolo looked cool. He didn't look like Piccolo, and it kind of bothered me. Like I wish he had the antennas.
I mean, they're kind of there. If you notice, they're like kind of embedded onto his head, but it's not.
There's also the scene where he's like in this like chair that like is pointing, like pushing needles into his arm, so he's like drawing his blood.
They use the blood to create the monsters,
which is kind of reminiscent to the
he does that in the cartoon, right?
Yeah,
or in the books
in a way.
There's nothing like that in the script. So Pilaf is kind of your Piccolo stand-in in the script. Like we see him in the beginning, so they're on like it's like an aircraft carrier that's like out of commission basically, and so like he has these like robots there, and it's him, Mai, and Chao. And then, like, we don't see him again until the end. Like, there's no villain throughout the script. Whereas in the movie, you got Mai kind of coming in and out. And you see scenes with Piccolo a couple times. Like, there's the scene where it implies he blows up a village and then comes and gets the Dragon Ball. There's the scene where he, like, finds the one underwater or in a field. There's that weird scene.
Fucking... And then he
evaporates a pond.
And he goes... Much easier to find with no water.
Yeah, like
what the hell? Like,
oh, it's so fucking bad. I feel so bad for that guy because when you read the interviews and stuff, he was super into it. James Marston, I think his name is, or something.
Is he
like
a black guy?
No, he's a white dude. I think he might also be a singer.
He looked like, I just assume, because I feel like Piccolo is just the token black guy on Dragon Ball Z.
He does kind of give off that character vibe, doesn't he? I mean, he's a green alien, but he does feel like the black character.
Is that like putting that kind of stereotype in just because he's not white, so he's got to be like the black person?
No, I mean,
subconsciously. Oh, dude, Mr. Popo is straight black.
Yeah, you can't get blacker than Popo.
But I mean, just kind of off topic. But do you think subconsciously, like, we just kind of automatically like associate him with being? I mean, he literally was a different species.
I don't know.
That's weird.
If you were to tell me that like they cast a black guy as Piccolo, I'd be like, yeah, that fits, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
I mean, Piccolo's like the best fucking character in Dragon Ball Z.
His voice too, is kind of not black. His voice is black. That doesn't make sense. But like he's got it doesn't make sense, but it does.
Yeah,
I'm not racist.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, we're trying not to be. Yeah, I mean, so Piccolo only comes in the last like 5 fucking pages, and the fights is very similar to how it is in the movie.
In the script, do they at least explain how he gets fucking resurrected, like from the Dragon Balls?
Yeah, he gets brought back from the Dragon Balls.
Okay.
So the whole time they're saying that the story is Piccolo will come back with Ozaru and blah blah blah, kind of like they do in the movie. Mm-hmm. But the whole thing is, Pilaf and Mai were Nameks in disguise, and they were searching for the Dragon Balls so they could bring back their destroyer.
Sure.
And I don't even remember how Pilaf dies, honestly. Like, I remember how Chao dies. So, like, Piccolo comes back, and Goku is shirtless. He doesn't have a costume. He just has pants because his clothes get ripped off. So he becomes Ozaru, and he is like, he attacks Bulma and Yamcha, kind of how it is in the movie. And then Roshi hits him with his fucking memory beam, and he finds out that he didn't kill Grandpa Gohan, and he turns back into a human, and Roshi gives him some pants.
Yes.
And then they go straight into the last fight. Yamcha squares off with Chow, Bulma. Do you know what gun kata is? Have you seen the movie Equilibrium?
No.
Okay. Gun kata is martial arts with guns. So it's like, just fucking look up some scenes for Equilibrium. Basically, imagine standing in one spot and having like 20 people surrounding you and being able to just fucking kung fu move and shoot in all directions and like kill them all. But it's basically like martial arts with gunfighting. And they straight up describe Mai and Bulma. He uses the term gun kata and says it's the most badass thing you've ever seen. It's like a fucking direct line out of the script.
Yes.
And that's how
he
Bulma...
he really wanted it to happen. It did not happen.
He literally like describes every action scene as like, it's so fucking cool, dude. Like, you can't even believe you're seeing the... I imagine a lot of coke was being sniffed as he was like writing this script. Yeah, they literally... Yeah, it's like gun kata. She backflip kicks the gun out of her hand and catches it midair and shoots Mai, and she falls into lava. And it's fucking ridiculous. And then Piccolo is shooting energy waves at them, and Yamcha Wolf Fang fists Chow and then gives him a swift roundhouse kick that throws him across the room into Piccolo's blast and disintegrates him.
Nice.
So then it comes down to Goku and Piccolo, who... They do a callback to the beginning. So remember in the beginning of the movie, Goku's bouncing on the wires and him and Gohan fight? That is in the script.
And he flicks the fucking bug.
Yeah, he flicks the bug. The bug is not in the script. But
bug should have
I think instead of wires, it's like poles. Like they're kind of like Karate Kid bouncing on poles, but they're like hopping around and shit. And so the ground and so they keep oh my god, I can't even believe I forgot about this. In the beginning of the script, his buddies are playing the Dragon Ball video game. And they're like, oh, when you step on this thing, you fall down this trap. But remember to, like, hold the button for 15 seconds and press jump. And then you, like, avoid the spikes trap at the bottom. They come to a temple in real life that looks just like the one from the video game. And Goku counts to 15 as he falls down the trap and is able to avoid the fucking spike trap.
Out of here.
Swear to fucking God.
Get... What?
And he ends up in this pit, and that's where Pilaf and Mai, they're like up top, and the like top of the pit opens, and they tell him that he's a Saiyan and Ozaru, and then he becomes Ozaru.
I would have for sure turned off the movie if that happened in the movie.
That's not the only callback. So they call back to while they're fighting in this temple, the ground starts to break, and the ground they're standing on becomes like pillars, and now all of a sudden Goku is standing on pillars like he was with Gohan in the beginning. And Piccolo's flying and shooting energy waves and stuff. So there's no scene where Roshi is like teaching Goku about the Kamehameha wave. They never even like reference Goku learning it. But there's one thing. They eventually come to a pirate town that's basically like Tortuga from Pirates of the Caribbean. It's described exactly the same. They're like, oh, they come to a pirate town in quotations, and like there's people shooting guns all over. People are being dragged out of bars. There's wild dogs running around. Literally, I just pictured Tortuga from Pirates of the Caribbean as I was reading it.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, and so like then they steal a boat and they go pick up Roshi. So then they take this boat, and while they're on it, there's like a hint of training between Roshi. I keep wanting to say Yoshi. Between Roshi and Goku. That was a good impression. And they're like basically holding a ball. This is what I meant from the wax on, wax off moment from Karate Kid.
Yes.
They're like holding a ball and like tossing it back and forth, kind of like with the hand motion, like you would picture from the anime of them when they fire the Kamehameha wave, they put their hands up. And they're like tossing a ball and catching it back and forth. And I'm like, oh, this is how they're going to bring up the Kamehameha wave later. Is it's going to be like, remember when we were throwing the ball? Focus your energy. But no. Piccolo fires like an energy blast at Goku. Okay, so in the beginning, Gohan is talking to Goku about... God, this is fucking terrible. About basically being able to understand time? And like... It's like why he'll never be able to focus because he can't focus on time or something. It fucking makes no sense. So, of course, in this moment where all hell is breaking loose around them, Goku figures it out. It's like, oh, past, present, and future, it's all the same thing. It all matters. Makes zero sense.
Oh, yeah. Remember? I remember.
Yeah, remember that thing at the beginning? It saves us. So Piccolo launches an energy ball at Goku, who catches it, and then it turns into a Kamehameha wave as he shoots it back and, like, disintegrates Piccolo.
I mean,
that's not how it works.
No, it's not how it works at all. But I guess in the
But I was like, what was the point of that ball scene? Because literally, I was like, this
like
is how it's going to happen.
He's like, yo, when we're done with this, we're going to start this sweet-ass basketball team.
I'm pretty sure they call it like a kame ball. Like, it's like think of, what are those fucking in the gym?
Like
medicine
a medicine ball.
Yeah. Basically picture like a medicine ball. But they're like tossing it back and forth like a Kamehameha wave. And they call it like a kame ball. And I'm like, okay, so this is how he learns it. And nope, it just never comes up again.
Maybe it's just implied.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean,
like, if you pick that out, like, obviously, like,
I mean, I picked it out because I was reading it, because they give you the text that it's called a kame ball. There's no dialogue that calls it that. So like, somebody watching the movie, if nobody says it, unless it was printed on the fucking side of the ball,
which is possible.
Yeah, I guess, like, fucking big beach ball just says kame on it. Like, why did his house always say kame house? I never understood that.
I don't know,
because that always confused me. I mean, I guess it's because of Kamehameha, but
Yeah.
I came to Dragon Ball after Dragon Ball Z, so like, I already knew the character of Kami. So I was like, why does Roshi live in Kami house?
Yeah, that's I thought that too.
I've never known.
I think just Kamehameha.
Yeah, and that's where I put it together. Like, once I started watching Dragon Ball, I was like, oh, all right. And actually, I think it might mean turtle in Japanese.
Kame?
Yeah. It might. I think it might have something to do with turtle, because it is Turtle Island, and he's the turtle hermit, and blah blah blah.
What's that, Siri?
Yeah.
Doesn't say anything.
It just says here, check it out, and gave you a blank screen.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's ridiculous. That's what it was. I mean, while you're looking that up, as far as like just the kind of basic structure of the script, there's a lot of weird. It is turtle.
Kame means turtle in Japanese.
All right, I knew that somewhere. But yeah, I mean, even the basic structure of the script, there's a lot of, so like the scene I told you where the little girl, they pick her up. There's no moment of come with us. It's just like they find this little girl and she's like, I think they were looking for the Dragon Ball. And then it's just hard cut to them on the road and the girl's just with them. There's no dialogue about what happened.
Abducted this child.
Who killed your family? Are we going to run into these people in 10 feet? Like, nothing. It's just they find this little girl and all of a sudden she's coming with them. This
is a movie that just should not have been made.
No. And
because I remember, and including myself, it pissed a lot of people off.
I was furious.
There
are two movies that have offended me to the point where I wanted to turn them off. One is Dragon Ball Evolution. The other was Resident Evil Retribution.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Batman v Superman.
No, because I watched that multiple times. It was a bad movie, but it didn't... I mean, I was offended, for sure. But it didn't make me want to turn it off. Because there are good things about that movie. There's not many good things about Dragon Ball Evolution.
No, it's just... Like... I enjoy watching bad movies, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, you've been telling me to watch Hell Comes to Frogtown or whatever for a while.
Amazing. But this movie is just so hard to get through. Like, I was sitting there just like, fuck. Like
I was eating on my break and I looked over and you just gave me the finger, like, as you were watching it. Like, I mean, it's fucking terrible. And the script would have been a better movie. In all honesty, I can say, you should fucking read this thing. Like, I know we've already talked about it. You should read it. Like, you're still going to be like, ugh, and you're still going to get so mad at some things. But, like, there are good things about it. Like, you can see that this guy actually put in some effort. Even he's out there saying he apologizes and that, like, it was a money job and he should have cared more about it. He's right, but you can tell he put forth some effort. And he included the major things you would want to be included. If this movie fucking had Krillin in it, even though Krillin doesn't even come with him on the journey, they literally is like, oh, that's my student. He gives him a thumbs up. You never see Krillin again, ever. Never, no name drop, nothing. It still would have been better. Like they call him a Saiyan. They
never even reference him being a Saiyan in Dragon Ball at all.
No, I mean, that was a Dragon Ball Z thing when Raditz came up. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you want to plant the seeds for a sequel, so that's the type of thing I'll allow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and there's. So I guess I didn't talk about the cloud. What's it? The Nimbus cloud. Nimbus. So they defeat Piccolo. They're in the temple. It's falling apart. How are they going to get out?
Oh God.
I can't even remember how it comes up. Bulma says, oh, if only we had your Nimbus cloud. And Roshi's like, hey, that's a good idea. And then the fucking top of the temple just gets destroyed, somehow doesn't crush them, and the Nimbus cloud comes flying in. But only someone of pure heart can ride the Nimbus, just like in the book and in the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Roshi straight up says, I damn well can't do it. So Goku hops on it. They all grab onto Goku, and they fly out of the temple to safety. And that's kind of how it ends. So there's a little bit more. So he drops them off, and he just immediately takes off and leaves them there. And they decide that they're going to find the Dragon Balls again, kind of like they do in the thing. There's no, like, Roshi's just like, oh, they're not gone. They're just spread around the world. Like, and there's no thing about, like, oh, they turned to stones for a year, blah, blah, blah. They're just scattered.
Yeah.
So Goku, he's like, oh, well, I'll help you find them. And they're like, oh, I don't know if we want to go looking for them or whatever. But Goku's like, well, I'm going to go find them. But he's like, but first, and he just leaves, flies back over to the Ox King's place to pick up Chi-Chi, and they go riding around on the cloud until it flies into the screen, and we get a fucking the end.
God.
And, like, they don't even, I mean, they plant some seeds for a sequel, but they don't even, like, give you the hard fucking sequel sell.
The end?
Yeah.
Question mark?
Yeah, like, even that would have been a little more than what they do. And by planting seeds for a sequel, I only mean that they name drop shit that we as fans would know. Like, if you're an average moviegoer, like, we would know that calling him a Saiyan is setting up for the Saiyan saga on Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
The average fucking person wouldn't know that.
Let's say what?
Yeah. And it's, again, things like that offend me. Like in Resident Evil Retribution, me and Vinny talked about this on that podcast. They fucking straight up name drop the Las Plagas parasite from the video game, even though they never have fucking touched on it or mentioned it at all in any other movie. Oh, that movie makes me so angry. But, like, yeah, I don't know. This would have been better. Like, I think you should read this. I think anybody who saw that movie and was mad about it should read it. It's
I mean, I still have it in my email, so maybe whenever I have a chance to just skim through it at least, I definitely would love to check it out.
It gets kind of boring, like, as the movie does.
I mean, I think reading in general is boring, so.
Well, I mean, this one was hard to get through. I like, the first script I ever read was the Alien Engineer script that became Prometheus, which is one we'll be doing on the show, and I can't wait for. But I blasted through that thing. Excuse me. This one took me like a week to get through. It was making me angry. Like, I have to be honest. I'm sitting there reading it, and I'm getting so pissed because, for one, would have been slightly better. It would have turned a 1-star movie into a 2-star movie. Let's be honest. But it would have been a 2-star movie that I think we as fans could have enjoyed.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, judging by what you say, I mean, just the inclusion of certain characters could have made it all the difference.
And honestly, the dialogue is better. That's one major takeaway from the script. The dialogue there's a lot of it. There's more of it. And just, I feel like the characters are written a little more properly. Goku, like, Yamcha's still kind of the weakest written character, but he's still better than what we get in the movie. I mean, there's definitely a lot of, like, he doesn't care. Because I'm trying to...
I feel like he's, like, not even, like... He's, like, there, but he's not, like... There's no, like... Nothing about him that makes us care about it. Does he do
anything in the movie? Does he have any fight scenes or anything?
I mean, yeah, when they get ambushed by those, like, blood creatures.
He actually fights some?
Yeah, and then, like, at the end, I think he fights a little bit. But then, like, it's just, like... He traps them, and they all hate him, and then they're like, "We need your help," and then like they help him, and then like
Roshi can jump really high.
Yeah, cutscene to like wherever they are,
and
like
they're at place. They're like, at some. Where did that place come from?
But then like they're in like him and Bulma are just at some bar, and then she's like, couldn't.
Oh, they kind of like each other now.
Can't believe I'd enjoy talking to a thief so much.
Yeah,
like something stupid.
There's definitely a lot more of Yamcha being a thief in the script. Like when they go to the pirate town and they're like, "Oh, we need to pool our money to get a boat." He everyone gives him money and he puts it in an envelope. Then he gives them, the guys he's buying the boat from, like an empty envelope. So then like later when they're leaving with the boat, everyone's coming and shooting at them. Like they do a lot more action in the script, and most of it's pretty bad. And it's just like, oh, Goku's a badass. But I mean, like, Yamcha has multiple fights with Goku. He fights another character on his own at the end. They give him something to do. I feel like when they took out all those characters in the script, like the bad guys, you kind of take out everything for Yamcha to do. He's just tagging along. It's implied in the script that he can't even really, or in the movie that he can't even really fight. And I mean, they use mostly guns in the script. There's a lot of gunfights in the script.
Yeah, in the movie as well.
Yeah, Which for a martial arts movie, it's like, why are there so many gunfights? But hey, The Matrix did it, so I guess it's fine.
That's true.
But yeah, I guess that's all I got to say about it. It's still bad, but it's bad in a way that I think a fan could have found some good in.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I guess the only redeeming thing about this movie is that it's so bad that it makes me appreciate what we have, the anime and stuff, so much more, because it's like, this is like that's something that like I grew up with, that you grew up with, that we love. And, you know, I'm constantly trying to get people that like don't watch it. Like my girlfriend, she loves watching anime. She never watched Dragon Ball Z. We started watching it. She wanted to watch it, so I was like, of course.
I could never get my wife to watch anime.
She was like, yeah. Like, so we started watching through Dragon Ball, which I was like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z are like night and day. It's like two different
very different.
But it's exciting for me to pass on that onto somebody else that hasn't seen it before. So the only redeeming factor I could say is that this movie was so bad that it makes me appreciate.
You should make her watch the movie.
God, I could not do that to her.
What if she loves it?
I'd have to kill her.
That's always my favorite thing, is like there's something that like we as fans know. Like Berto was telling me about. He was talking to this girl about movies. And they're like, oh, did you see this movie? And Burrow's like, yeah, I loved it. She's like, oh, did you see Guardians of the Galaxy? He's like, yeah, I loved it. She's like, did you see Suicide Squad? He's like, that was the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen. And she was like, oh, that's like my favorite movie of the year so far.
I'm sure she loved fucking Harley Quinn, too.
Oh, I'm sure. There's so many fucking Harley Quinns this Halloween. Yeah, I mean, I find it interesting that Pilaf was there. I love Pilaf as a character, but he's so not the fucking Pilaf we know. He's very dark and brooding. He's basically Piccolo, so...
Mini Piccolo.
Yeah, but Pilaf is the character I always enjoy when he pops up in like the current shit.
He's a good
Chow.
little comedic relief.
Chow is like one of my favorite characters from Dragon Ball.
I love that, like now, like especially in Super, like
how they're kids.
They're just like they just completely flip from being heels to baby faces.
Yeah, like God, you're such a wrestler. But yeah, it's like. They just show up in Super and they're young, and it's never, they just kind of have a throwaway line to explain why they're young, where they like it's implied that they got the Dragon Balls before and accidentally wish to be young.
Well, it's from, I mean, you remember in GT when they
but GT's not related to Super.
It's not, but I think they just
flipped it.
They were just like, and yeah, that's kind of what happened here.
But the implication is they had the Dragon Balls at one point, and somehow they fucked it up to the point where they
that's
became
their whole
kids.
That's like their whole thing, though. Is like they were just bumbling idiots.
Yeah, and then in the Frieza one, they actually get money, which was hilarious.
Yeah,
he's like he asked for like 1 million zenny or something,
and it was like not that much.
Yeah, it's just like a little stack of money. She's like, why didn't you ask for 100 million? And he's just like, because too much would be too much to manage or something like that. Like, I love those fucking characters. Chow is one of my favorite characters. Just a dog in a fucking ninja costume.
Yeah. It's also interesting how like Mai went from being like in Dragon Ball like just kind of like a henchman character, Dragon Ball Z being not even an existing character.
Yeah, I don't think it references any of those characters in Dragon Ball Z.
In Super, she's like a very big part of like the resistance.
She's become like a big deal, and her and Trunks are implied to have like a relationship.
Yeah, which was just kind of cool because I think it's interesting how they.
It always bummed me out that in the movie and in the script I don't like that they included Mai in the movie because they just made her a bad guy and they took away anything that made her interesting. Like I loved the bumblingness of those three characters.
Yeah, and
that's completely gone in all of this.
Can't have an action movie with too many bumbling people though.
Yeah, I guess just the main characters. Because fucking Goku and Roshi are the two goofiest people I've ever seen in a movie. I do like to see where Mai punches him in the face, and it's implied that he's just like so strong, and his like cheek is just moved aside. And he doesn't even move.
No, like you know what's funny? The I can actually pinpoint the scene where I'm immediately taken out of this movie.
The beginning when they do the opening on his face.
Look when he what?
The very beginning of
his
the movie.
eyes and shit.
It's like sweat
that was. I mean, that was kind of lame. But when he gets knocked off of the high wires and lands headfirst in the fucking melons, and it just goes, like he lands in it, it makes that sound. I'm like, I'm done.
Honestly, the really bad wire work when Gohan jumps onto the wires, I'm like, ugh. This is literally the first 5 seconds of the movie.
Come on, you couldn't spring for some better like Like, and even like when Bulma's riding her fucking motorcycle thing, like the fucking
the terrible green screen.
Oh my god!
They shot the movie in just like a jeans factory in Mexico City or something. The whole movie.
Of course, it was made in Mexico.
Well, Mexico is that in Mexico? Is that in Mexico?
Mexico City is the capital.
Yeah. They shot it all there in like a jeans factory, and just clearly everything is a set. They never went to a high school, I guess. I mean, maybe that was the one location shoot because the outside scene had to have been.
Yeah, it had to.
And the mansion scene. I guess Gohan's house could have been a set, but I wouldn't like to believe that.
Inside, maybe.
Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, most of the movie was shot there.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and it shows.
Fucking perfectly sums up this movie.
And the guy who fucking made it has made good movie. I want to say the guy who fucking directed this movie made Kung Fu Hustle.
I love Kung Fu Hustle.
Yeah, I need to double check this. Where the fuck? Googling on a podcast is always the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, I mean,
but there was. I'm gonna probably eat my words as soon as I do like that when you search Dragon Ball Evolution 2 is still something that pops up.
Oof.
Wait, this is an hour and 40 minutes, but the thing we read said 88 minutes. So maybe this movie is longer. I don't know.
It felt
directed by James Wong. That sounds very familiar. Okay, he directed and wrote episodes of The X-Files. He directed Final Destination and Final Destination 3. He directed The One, with the Jet Li movie.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, I like that movie. All right, yeah, okay, sorry. Maybe it was the producer. I think that's who it was. Stephen Chow. Yeah, I think he did Kung Fu Hustle. Yeah, Kung Fu Hustle. Yeah, so it was the producer. I'm sorry, he directed Kung Fu Hustle. But yeah, I mean, that... He's already made a good movie. I don't understand how he fucking produced this thing. I mean, Final Destination isn't great directing credits, but I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, I mean, those movies did well.
I mean, I think the first one's fine.
How many of them? 5?
5, I think.
Yeah,
I heard the 5th one was actually really good, too.
I heard that. I mean, the first one was really good.
I like the first one.
Second one was decent.
It was okay.
Third and fourth were not good.
I didn't see any of the other ones.
I didn't see the third and fourth, but I heard they were bad. All I heard about the fifth one that it was good.
Yeah, and the 5th one they tie it in because at the end they get on a plane that is the plane from the first one. And so the characters from 5 die, and it kind of is like, oh, we're resetting the cycle because it's like, basically 5 was like a prequel, and you don't even know it until the end.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But he didn't do 5. He did 1 and 3. 3 was 3D, I'm pretty sure. I think that's the roller coaster. Ooh. I don't know. Those are fucking bad movies, and Dragon Ball was a bad movie, and this script was fucking terrible.
Fuck this guy. I hope he burns in hell.
This shit.
Burn in hell with all your shit.
It's so bad. I still think you should read it, but it's so bad. But all right, we've gone long. This has been. I'm sorry I made you watch this movie. I should watch it just to make it even.
Yes.
But
no, you need to watch Hell Comes to Frogtown.
I'll watch Hell Comes to Frogtown. That's a fair trade.
Watch that this weekend.
If I can get it this weekend. I want to watch Doctor Strange this weekend. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
Treat yourself before you kill yourself.
Yeah. Do you want to promote Twitter? Anything you got coming out?
I don't know. I run a professional wrestling organization out of Chicago. We are called Freelance Wrestling. I don't know when this is going to be airing, so I'm not going to tell you when our next show is.
But it's not airing until January. So.
Okay, so yeah, don't even worry about that. But if you want to buy stuff from us, DVDs, T-shirts, anything, freelancewrestling.com is your one-stop shop for all that bullshit.
Yeah, and check out some free matches on YouTube. Even.
Yeah, on YouTube, search Freelance Wrestling, see a bunch of stuff on there. And then just follow me on Twitter at the Matt Nix, TheMattKnicks.
And Freelance has a Twitter as well.
Yeah, at Freelance Res. WRES.
You only have so many letters. And as always, you can follow the show at Shelved Podcast. You can email us at shelvedfilmpodcast@gmail.com. I'm finally saying the right email. So in the first couple episodes, I was saying the wrong email. And we do have the Tumblr, shelvedfilmpodcast.tumblr.com, where we post the scripts for our next episodes when we launch our mini episode. So, Nick, thanks for sitting with me and talking about this shitty movie and this shitty script.
God damn, I need to take a shower.
Yeah, seriously, I feel gross. And thanks for sitting with me.
Thanks for having me.
All right, have a good one.
Bye.